Accountability is dead. Even when people are at fault, they feel as though they've done nothing wrong. Maybe it's arrogance or pride, or maybe the adoption of selfishness as a virtue. Phrases like, "I deserve better," "I am putting myself first," have become viral. In reality, they are excuses for destroying relationships and friendships. Like a viral plague, all over social media, you can see instances of people making endless mistakes, only to look for something to blame. Is this a new direction of our society? Maybe, but it seems as though it's a dark direction, teaching the youth this new sentiment that even if it is your fault, there's always someone to blame. So they never grow, they never learn, they never understand the pattern that led them to where they are in the first place. We need to first break down what a conscious decision is. At its simplest form, a conscious decision is an alteration of matter within space. You move your hands, you alter the position of matter composing your hand. You move an object, you consciously alter its geometric location in space. If we take the action of no action as an action, like the zero set in mathematics, or the zero element in topological spaces, the reasoning behind this is, you are not stopping all biological and molecular processes within your body, you're just doing less. The issue lies in the moral implications of an action. Think of the following scenario. There is a gun in front of you, a violent criminal, and an officer. Moving the geometric location of the gun has different implications morally when you give it to one person versus the other. Philosophers define accountability as a set of duties that an individual is responsible for based on their qualifications. In addition to this, philosophers asserted that these individuals must also possess the moral understanding and moral convictions necessary to carry out the action. This view on accountability has one flaw. It assumes the individual is living in an ideal vacuum, free from outside influence. In addition to this, there's also another major issue in today's society. We are arguing on the definitions of what a person's duties are. We see it all the time, more so in relationships. People refusing to do anything, saying that it's not my responsibility. Somewhat of a viral craze. It makes for great content, but it's an indicator of a failing society. How can you hold someone accountable when the definition of what they're accountable for continues to change? A human being is influenced by their genetic profile, previous life experiences, and most importantly, their environment. We seek advice from one another when an important decision needs to be made or an issue is impacting us. This is good in theory if the society is generally good, but we don't live in a moral society anymore. Many people are influenced to engage in morally depraved acts like cheating on their partner and using others for personal gain, whether you like it or not. Conformity and groupthink are real psychological processes that affect us all. A relevant case of normative social influence was seen during fascism. Adolf Eichmann, who ordered the transportation of prisoners to death camps, tried to justify his actions. He claimed he was just following orders. He felt less morally responsible for what he did. This phenomena is observed when someone is giving orders and the other person is complying with them. They absolve blame on one another. One was following the orders and not giving the orders, and the other was not committing the act. A loop with accountability being passed back and forth. I think another important point to bring up is what happened to the definition of how we stand on certain subjects. Previously, cheating on their partner could never be justified, but these days, it's justified. All you have to do is say, "My partner was neglecting me," and all of a sudden, you are absolved of any and all sin associated with your actions. Morality may have changed, but the way it impacts others hasn't changed. You can choose to interpret it any way you want, but it doesn't make it any less damaging to the people it affects. The point of all this, social influence is a powerful tool when an authority figure is present, so it's no surprise that we live in an age where people are willing to ruin their relationships or their families when a groupthink is present. Pair this with terrible advice on social media from influencers, being seen as authority figures, and voila, you have a recipe for removing accountability from terrible actions. They fail to see that without the advice or the actor, the action would have never occurred. They are all accountable within the chain of events that led to the action. Trying to hold someone accountable is a dangerous game. Just look at WikiLeaks. The website had a noble goal in mind, but the flaw is, accountability isn't seen as something good anymore. Essentially, his life was ruined. Look at what happens when corporations are sued for their malpractice. An army of lawyers makes fighting the case a losing battle. So if there is no incentive for doing the right thing, then the wrong thing is incentivized. What a society rewards are its morals. So what is the conclusion to all this? People being punished for doing the right thing. People being lied to by society that working hard to follow the path of a responsible and noble person will lead to a fulfilling life, only to realize that it's an illusion. But the internet is making the spread of information faster, so many have chosen to simply give up, to not be another cog in the machine.